Hi there. We're going to talk now about push-ups and any push-up variations that we can accommodate the client with. So there are rules that apply overall any type of push-up we're going to do, and that is you need to have control of your core and you need to keep your elbows in. Okay, the reason why we want to prioritize a narrower stance versus a wide stance is to create more gymnastic skills, because I'd say we can get like a lot stronger much faster into our chest, and it's not like we're not getting chest push, like, you know, chest power from the push-up, but we're also getting strength into our tricep, which is harder to get. That's why it kind of takes a while for the people to build into their push-ups. Now, the whole idea is that, again, like we said with the bench, we need to get all the way down to our target. So if, for example, this is the height of the push-up you're going to do, you need to be able to get there all the way down with your chest. If you're not getting there with your chest, even if it's the floor, if it's on parallettes, it needs to go all the way down to your thumb. If it's here, it has to go all the way down to here. So if I am going to go now into a push-up position, I want to set up to the stance right here. So my elbows are pinned into my rib cage, and then my fingers are spread, right? I'm not doing anything like this. I'm spreading my fingers, and then I'm keeping my elbows in. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to be on top, like levering forward, right? And then I'm going to have my toes only on the floor all throughout, right? And then I'm going to tuck my tailbone in, and as I go down, I'm coming back up without losing that tension into my core. So you'll see a lot of push-ups that look like this, and I'm telling you now, I do not want to see any push-up like that. Core that is not engaged and arms that are not in, it definitely means this is too high for them. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to turn the box around and you're going to say, okay, this is a bit hard for you. Why don't we try from this height, right? Let's get those elbows in. My cue is pretend you have a credit card here, right? And then you ask them to do it again, right? And their push-up still looks, it looks better, but what they struggle with is coming back up, right? So what I tell them that they can do, they can go down and then move one foot forward and then press slightly into this foot here to come back into a standing position, right? So this is a trick they can use to get themselves up. For some people, even this is quite hard. So what we can do is to take the rig and, you know, get a bar higher than the level of the bench. I think the trickiest bit for people is to get the core engaged. I think everybody struggles with that, and the better you become, the more strength you start having. Everything starts from the core. But ultimately, the push-up is a moving plank. If you don't learn how to engage your core, it pushes a lot on your wrist. So it becomes something that it's very hard on the wrist because it's practically dead weight that you're trying to push away. Your arms are going to move anyway. You're going to straighten them and bend them anyway. But when it comes to core control, that is a different story. Now, I look at different things in terms of push-up and making sure that everybody is online. I'm just going to check the camera quickly to see. Okay, I'm going to position it like this. So there are a few things I check when it comes to push-up. First, like I said, where is the stance? I also look at the tension in the shoulder blades. When you see their shoulder blades sticking out too much, it means there's no tension coming from here, because you want to make sure you have tension in your back, right? Then I look at their lower back, because you'll see they have no core control. If they start doing this, there's no coming back from that. Don't get me wrong. That's a complete catastrophe. You don't want to do that. So what I say to them, first, take your feet away, push your heels into each other. So have that straight line. I don't want to see any of this. This is the position we need to be into. Then from here, tuck your tailbone in, right? And really squeeze your glutes. You'll see a lot of people don't squeeze their glutes when they're doing push-ups. I don't understand why, but again, if your glutes are not squeezed, your hips are just going to be lagging. You're just going to be hanging there, right? There's no engagement. You're going to see people like this. So there are two things you're going to see in a push-up. People doing this, people doing this, right? And then first thing, if you see a lower back that's arched, that is lack of core engagement. And I think this rule goes in quite a few exercises, overhead exercises and things like that. So you look at the lower back. If their back is like this, that means their core is not engaged, right? And sometimes it's not even as noticeable as this. It's like maybe like this, but you can still see that they're not engaging their core. So you want to be actively engaging. You want to be actively having your heels off the floor. And then as you come in and out, you have that consistent movement where your chest and your hips travel at the same time. It's really important to get this right and to scale this right to get the correct stimulus. One thing I've noticed, and one trick, let's say, is that if I tell people to take the edge of whatever their target is over here, what they're going to do is they're going to arch their backs to get there sooner. So they're going to end up being here. So what I did, I've changed the target. Instead of saying to people, have this touching here, I actually tell people that they have to touch the side of the bench or the box or the bar up till here, right? Which would be maybe closer to my collarbone, but yeah, just across the chest. Because if I tell them, because in theory, you should ask people to do the same thing where they're doing into the bench press. So wherever the band lands, the bar lands, that's where the edge of the target should be to in the push-up. But I've discovered that if I tell people to go a little bit higher on there, what they're going to do is they're going to push their chest forward more, right? So you're not going to have that torso flare up anymore. And that's the thing that has really helped me to just give them a higher target as opposed to the lower one, because the lower one makes them arch too much. I try to avoid knee push-ups. It's because, well, I mean, there are extreme situations where we can use kneeling push-ups, but I prefer to stay away from them. The reason being that if you use your whole body in any situation, it teaches you how to control your core much better. In the kneeling push-up, people start crossing their legs. Crossing anything over or under, it promotes imbalances. So you have to stay with the things where you don't cross, or you have both your feet, your toes down. So if you're going to get them to do a push-up on their knees, you're going to have both feet down onto the floor, right? You can actually do it like this. Here, go all the way down, and then when they come up, they have both their knees down. That would be an idea. And let's say if you're struggling for time, if you're in a situation everybody is around and everybody is like, you know, it's a conditioning, you have no space, this and that, you can do that. But in a normal class, I want everybody to try to get to the full body one, because it's harder to control the core. And as you start taking them from a higher level, let's say it starts from the bar to the high box to the lower box, they are used to working with their own body weight and to control their core. Otherwise, when you start moving them, it's going to be, that's why you don't really see many people progressing from doing a kneeling push-up to a proper push-up, because there's no adjustment to the height in relationship to how you keep your core in control. So yeah, I'm not saying never do kneeling push-ups, but try not to make it your go-to. It's better to maybe adjust and taking them higher, but always aim for them to use their full body. Well, yeah, I hope that helps. I'll see you in the next one.